Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about the stigma of mental health. It is a little bit nasty and I just want to talk to you about how you can cope with it, get through it, and try your best to turn it into a positive learning experience for yourself. I'm not talking about changing people, I'm just talking about adapting to them. So keep on watching. So in my experience with stigma and mental health, a lot of the stigma comes from a lack. Ollie, no, you have to get down. You're not allowed up here. No. Ollie, why are you sinking? Babe. Okay, apologies for that interruption. I don't know why I'm apologising. You got to see my dog, so it's like a blessing really. But anyway. Yeah, so most of the stigma I have found comes from people not being understanding or educated on the topic of mental health. And not to target a particular group, but I do find it's particularly with an older generation of people rather than a younger generation. The younger generation is kind of being raised with a more inclusive and understanding education about mental health, and it wasn't really talked about before us. By us, I mean millennials. So when it comes to the nasty people, we'll just get these guys out of the way. I find there's two particular types of people who are not understanding of your mental health condition. The first type of person is the person who has their priorities wrong. When I was working in makeup, I had a boss whose priority was business, and I get that, like it's her job. But when it comes between choosing kindness and an acknowledgement of humanity in another person, that takes priority, not your fucking job. Excuse my French. But I am so sick and tired of people justifying their cruel nature, or I'm not just talking about my boss now, like I'm talking about a lot of people. People justify their cruelty and their lack of empathy with, well, I'm just doing my job. You know what? Your job's to be a human first, and then you can do the rest. Alright? Screw that. That's ridiculous. That doesn't work for me. Sorry. So now I've got that little rant out of the way. How can you deal with those kinds of people? When you have a mental health problem, and by problem I mean like something that needs healing, not like, I'm not trying to be negative there. You usually need to be brave enough to express that to other people. You usually need to be brave enough to tell other people so that they understand more of who you are, and particularly in the workplace or in places where you hold more responsibility. You need to be proud of yourself that in a state where you're mentally not as strong as you have the potential to be, that you are able to step up and own the person that you are. Like, you should be so damn proud of yourself. That is so incredibly brave. Like, a lot of people do not have the courage to own up to who they are, and you've fucking done it when you're not even as strong as you could be. So, hallelujah, like, you should really give yourself a pat on the back for that. So, I think the people who have their priorities wrong just think, you know what, I did the right thing by myself. I did the right thing by my responsibilities. And if they can't accept that, usually there's consequences when they can't accept that to you. You just got to take them in your stride and just know that it's making you stronger. That's all I can say, but it does make you stronger. I just want to quickly clarify a little bit on that topic. So when I'm talking about owning who you are in regards to your responsibilities having to suffer consequences when people don't accept it. There's a difference between using mental illness as an excuse and actually just being true to who you are. So try your best, and I know it's hard, try your best not to fall into a rabbit hole of that's just who I am and use it as an excuse for poor behaviour. That's not what I'm talking about. You need to be the best version of yourself that you can be, that you have the capacity to be in that moment. Never fall short of what you have the capacity to be and allow your capacity to grow. Do not use it as an excuse. And I'm talking about this for your own sake, because you'll never get better if you fall down that rabbit hole. Okay, now the second kind of person that has a negative stigma against mental health is really the most dangerous kind of person, because they trick you. I'm talking about the kind of person who verbalizes sympathy and verbalizes understanding and pretends like they get it. And then they treat you with all of the stigma that you were afraid that they would treat you with. And sometimes they treat you worse because they think you're weak. And I've come across this too many times. And it's really, really frustrating because they trick you, you know. You think, that person really understood me. You feel like you've really paid off, that you had so much courage to step up and be honest. And then it takes time, but you start to realise when they start acting and treating you weirdly. You know, like they might be nice to you for a couple of days, and then 2 weeks down the track, you're missing out on an opportunity, or they're being particularly unkind to you, or you might hear some gossip about yourself behind your back. And you trace it all back, and when did it all start? It started when you told them the truth about your mental illness. And that is just, it's like a whole nother level of cruelty. Those people are cowards. They're cowards. And you know why? Because they do not have the courage to be true to who they are. If they are not understanding of mental health, fine, you can't change it about them, but don't lie and act like you are. Like, who does that? Like, but people do. People do it all the time. All the time. And it's really devastating because it just makes you feel like you could never be honest about your mental illness again. And it takes even more courage the next time you tell someone, because you don't know what kind of person they're going to be sometimes. And every now and then there's that person that you really know already, chicken, no, you're not allowed up here, babe. I know I love you too, but you can't come up. Sometimes you're blessed and the person that you're opening up to about your mental illness is already somebody that you trust or somebody that you love and that you value. But more often than not, I think, like, when you're telling someone about your mental illness that's within your family or your friends or someone that you love, you're telling them in a way of connection. But in the world around you, if you're vocalizing and talking about your mental illness, it's either to raise awareness or because you have a responsibility to talk about it. And so I guess you find more often than not you're going to come across people that you don't know how they're going to respond to you telling them the truth. So how do you cope with the people that trick you? For me, the way I coped with it was I just thought about, you know what? they can't be true to who they are, but I can. And I'm proud of myself. And I'm just going to take this in my stride and just remember that every time they hurt me, that I'm proud of myself. And that's how you get through. Okie dokie, so that's all I have for you today. Thanks so much for watching. I am going to do another video on borderline personality disorder and the stigma with that. It's a whole nother ballpark, so keep a lookout for that one. Otherwise, please click like, subscribe, and those bell notifications, and all the best. Thanks, bye.